Hello, welcome to episode 184 of Daryl Show Your Work. All right, so in this episode, I'm going to be conducting some PowerShell threat detection and response using the Wazuh SIM tool. Before I get started, though, I want to remind everyone to please check out I&E's cybersecurity training and certification offerings, which range from red team penetration testing to blue team incident response and everything in between that's going to equip you with that in-demand, hands-on skill set that employers are looking for at the moment in the cybersecurity arena. So if you go to get.ine.com/Daryl and use product code INF 100-Brooks Tech at the checkout, you'll receive 10% off any of your purchases, with the exception of live virtual trainings. All right, so that product code, that promo code, and that link is going to be in the description code below. And excuse me, it's going to be in the show notes below. And without any further ado, let's get started. So PowerShell. It's often misused to extract sensitive credentials, enabling unauthorized access to critical systems. These attacks facilitate lateral movement and privilege escalation while remaining stealthy and challenging to detect, and are often part of a larger attack known as living off of the land, which post exploitation, once a attacker gets inside of your system, instead of using their own tools, or or creating a vector to bring their own tools or use their own tools to do whatever they're going to do in your system, what they'll do is just use whatever there to carry out their attack. And often common mechanism to do so is PowerShell. All right, so along with configuring why the Wazuh agent on the client side and a Wazuh manager on the server side to be able to start to monitor system events. I'm also going to simulate some of those attack types, which we're going to be able to then generate those logs for Wazuh to track, and just show an example of how living off the land attack can be done using PowerShell. But first, I'm going to need to enable the system monitoring event log collection here on the client side by configuring the Wazuh agent, the installed Wazuh agent. All right, so first I'm going to go to PowerShell and I'll right click that and choose to run it as administrator. I'm going to tell it yes. All right, once in, I'm gonna open the Wazuh agent configuration file through Notepad. All right, that is in C, the C drive, and program files. And since we're using a 32-bit instance, it's going to be x86. All right, and that's going to be in the ossec-agent directory, and then it's the ossec .config file. And then hold on, I'm gonna look like I left out a quote here, so I want that to process correctly. All right, so let's open that up. All right, so I have the configuration item to add pasted here. So let me copy that. All right, and then we're going to paste it here. All right, and again, what that's going to do is going to enable the system, the Sysmon event collection or the system monitoring logs. It's going to enable that, and then so it's enabling it on the client side here. But now I'm have to go over to the server side to configure some things there. Which on the server side, that is using the Wazuh manager. All right, so I just saved that. All right, so from here, in order for the changes that I just made to apply, I'm going to have to actually restart the Wazuh agent. All right. So in order to do so, let's say restart service. Then let's specify the name of that service. The name of that service is going to be simply Wazuh. All right. So let's. I thought I did this before. Let's 20. All right. Now that I've got that configured, I'm gonna have to switch over to the to the server and configure the Wazuh manager to begin to begin um, basically flagging these event types and properly flagging them within Wazuh. So Wazuh, what and I'll explain as I'm putting it in here. I'll explain exactly. But we're configuring this basically um, for Wazuh to be able to appropriately label the logs and make it easier for agents to know when a PowerShell related attack is happening. So let's first adjust the font here so it's clear to see what's going on. All right, then I'm going to maximize that. All right, so similarly, I'm gonna have to open up the rules file here on the server. So I'm gonna use the nano text editor to do so. All right, and that file is located within var, and then similar name of convention, ossec, etc, and then the name of the actual rules file. I'm sorry, it's going to be in a rules folder, and the name of the actual. Let's fix that. Name of an actual file is local underscore rules, and because this is a machine readable um, if I can, my keyboard doesn't stops having a mind of its own. Um, this is a machine readable document, so it's going to be in Excel XML format. All right, so just checking that. All right, that should take me to the rules file. Give it my password. All right, so I'm going to go all the way to the end of this rule file here, and I'm going to add a very long uh, new set of rules here, which I've already copied. All right, so copying that. All right, back in the terminal, I'm going to paste that here. All right, so basically, the following set of rules is going to detect credential access attacks, and it's going to detect different variations of LSASS and different variations of Windows Credential Manager exploitation attacks. So when I say LSASS, I'm talking specifically about local security authority subsystem service. All right, and that's a critical Windows process responsible for handling security-related functions, including user authentication and storing credentials. So by dumping LSASS memory, an insider can extract sensitive information from a system, particularly user credentials. And and we watched some previous videos of mine. We've seen me carry that out when using something like a hash dump where I've done some LSASS memory dumping. So you can see here where it's labeling some of those type of attacks here, like this detecting LSASS memory dumping attack using specialized tools, detecting a Windows Credential Manager exploitation attack. So what's going to happen? It's going to flag those different type of attacks, and not only adding our own rule ID to it. But if we look down here, all right, we can see that it's aligning these attacks to TTP IDs within the MITRE attack framework. So it's going to come back. It's going to align that with activities that are synonymous with known attack types that's already within the MITRE attack frameworks database, and it's going to make that easier for our analysts to do their analysis, because instead of having to tie it to a particular action themselves, all they're going to do is verify whether that's correct or not, or false positive, or whatever have you. But that's what's going on in particular with these types of rules. And I'm also assigning a priority level too. So these, as you can see, for example, have a level of 10. All right, but I'm going to set that up to a priority level of 15. So depending on the variation of memory dumping attack, it's going to set that priority higher when it comes to the type of attack and which MITRE attack TTP it's associated with. All right, so let's Control X to exit, and then capital Y to save. All right, so similar to what I had to do with the Wazuh agent here, I'm gonna have to restart the Wazuh the service associated with the Wazuh manager. So in order to do that, I'm gonna say sudo system control. We want to restart, if I could spell, restart the Wazuh manager. All right. And so what that's going to do is just going to make sure the changes I just made to the local rules files are applied and persist. All right, so then from here, once it comes back and fully restarts, I'm going to jump back to the Windows machine, and I'm going to demonstrate what LSASS memory dumping looks like, as far as it also exploiting the Windows Credentials Manager. All right, so let's jump back to the Windows machine now that that's returned back as successfully completing. All right, now within Windows here, all right, so to conduct that LSASS memory dump, I'm going to say run dll 32.exe. Right, C Windows System 32, which is our system files, vcs.dll, and then oops, still giving me double letters. There we go. We'll do a mini dump. 624. All right, do we want to aim at the temp folder? LSASS .dmp, and then we want to do full. All right, so again, what this is going to do is going to simulate an LSASS memory dump. All right, so we'll know it's successful if it doesn't return an error code. All right, so it looks like that was successful. Now, and so what's happening, this should start generating those event logs in Wazuh. And so after I'm done completing these attacks, we're going to go inside of Wazuh and see if it's indeed tracking those. All right, so next I'm going to conduct I'm going to conduct an exploit against the Windows Credential Manager. And what the Windows Credential Manager is, it's a built-in feature in Microsoft Windows operating systems that allow users to store and manage various credentials such as usernames, passwords, and other authentication data. All right, so I'm going to use run that same thing here, except I'm going to change it up a bit. So key manager. DLL, then we want to do KR show. All right, so again, this is going to simulate a Windows Credential Manager exploitation. And so what's going to happen, it should open it up. And I'm going to show you, hold on, just realize something here. Gotcha. Okay. Um, it should open up the credential manager for us and allow me to be able to see some of the credentials. And then you'll see what I mean here. All right, so we could so this is the credential, the Windows Credential Manager, and as I've managed to open it, and it's displaying a list of stored usernames and passwords. So I'm gonna click on one of these for an example. And we can see we have a username here, but an obfuscated password. So that's what I mean. It's going to show it to us somewhat. So there are ways that someone could deobfuscate this password, but I'm not going to do that here because that's not the main focus. But just showing you how someone could access this from the PowerShell command line, um, um, once in the system, and start to be able to enumerate different username and passwords for those using the system. All right, so I'm gonna close this out, and then the last thing that I'm gonna do here before jumping into to Wazuh is that I'm going to list some credentials stored in the Windows credentials vault. All right, so in order to do that, I'm gonna say let's see, vault cmd, and then list creds, Windows credentials. And then slash all. Let's list all of them. All right, then you can see here that um, for each domain, it's giving me different user identities here. So we have admin user, then we have an identity of somebody named author.b, and then we have another one, author.b at gmail.com. So this is an example of just me doing another, just exposing some of the user information here on the system. Now let's see how if Wazuh's managed to capture that, and I could do that from this end. So I'm going to open up the other browser here and navigate to where Wazuh is being hosted. All right, and I can access that by going to HTTPS, and that is being hosted at 192.168.1.100. All right, yes, I want to assume the risk. All right, so let's log in with my credentials here. All right, so under the threat intelligence area here, I'm going to click on threat hunting. And let's see if I scroll down here. All right, so we can see here, all right, where the agent named Windows 10 PC, that's what I'm using here. We can see where those activities have now started been tracked. All right, so we have the MITRE technique, the TTP ID here. All right, it's being tied to the event, and then the tactic type. All right, that is command and control, and then we're seeing is given a description of executable file dropped in folder file used by malware. All right, so and it's given it a priority level of 15, and we can see our individual rule ID. So this is an example of how the actions that I've just done, how they're being tracked by Wazuh. All right, and then we can see here. All right. Some other things that are being tracked. All right. So, again, some of those actions that I've just taken, we can see how they're now being logged by Wazuh. All right. So just wanted to give an example of how to configure the Wazuh agent and the Wazuh manager to begin collecting system monitoring logs, and then once we create those new rules that we could tie to the MITRE attack framework, how we could then be able to accurately track some of that living off the land activity, specifically using PowerShell, and then make life a little easier for our SOC analysts and incident responders when they're looking at event logs, be able to at least preliminarily have a MITRE TTP ID to associate a particular event to, and begin to basically confirm whether that's a false positive, a true positive, and work from there. So please like, subscribe, and share. Most importantly, show your work. And please, again, check out ine.com. You will not be disappointed with their cybersecurity offerings. Again, it's most of it is hands-on, so you'll definitely will be walking away with a new set of skills. And until next time, take care of yourself, and God bless.